I didn't tell anyone about it at first. I mean, we're a nice family, in a nice house in a nice part of town. Boys like me, we play rugby for our house team. Stuff like that's not meant to happen to us.
Oh God, I think I always knew or suspected that it was maybe more than a pass. But how could I speak to her about that? Not when she knew that I still loved him. Parent line was our lifeline. It got us talking again, really talking. It let us confront our demons.
And Children's First had someone special there just to help the girls decide how they're feeling.
At the same time, I joined a Children's First parents group, which helped me focus on how I could be a better parent to Darren, learning how to deal with his behaviour in ways that didn't have to end up in a screaming match or worse still, a fight.
Me and Mum started to talk to each other. I began to realise there was more credit in taking part in lessons at school than disrupting them.
6 years ago, I wouldn't have believed it possible.
It took about 18 months to work through these memories and mixed up feelings. And it took me a while to return to being happy. I feel free of all that pain. I don't think I'll ever feel free of all of it. But at least I've got my life back.
It's got us talking again. And it seems to be working. I mean, me and Zoe, we haven't really had a bad row in ages. And Amy, she seems to be a lot more settled in school. But it's the early days. And no matter what happens between me and Duncan, we'll always put our children first.
Does your self-esteem a lot of good? Discovering that the man you've been living with for 14 years has a thing for pubescent girls. We're not there yet. We've still got a lot of issues, but at least we're talking.
I was on this group project for 12 weeks, where I learned to feel what other folk thought about me, and how they felt about what I was into.
At the same time, I joined a Children's First parents group, which helped me focus on how I could be a better parent to Darren, learning how to deal with his behaviour in ways that didn't have to end up in a screaming match or worse still, a fight.
I got good passes on my hires. And tomorrow, I'm off to Dundee University. Hey, surprise, surprise. I'm studying psychology.
Coalition forces were already building up in Kuwait prior to the commencement of Operation Iraqi Freedom. On the 26th of December, ESS, with people already on the ground in Kuwait, was invited to continue discussing contracts to provide a rapid turnkey response in respect of camp construction and food service provision for the troops. By the 7th of January 2003, ESS had been awarded its first contract. And on the 17th of January, ESS served its first meal to the 1st US Marine Expeditionary Force. All this against the background of a possible preemptive strike by Iraqi forces, and a supply chain that in some instances stretched all the way back to North America.
In the early stages of preparation for the build-up here in Kuwait, it was important to find a company that could respond on a timeline that was very compressed. We had to factor in the needs of putting down kitchen services in open desert with no support structure, no support infrastructure whatsoever.
They had a turnkey operation that allowed us to pretty much be hands-off with the entire operation.
It was remarkable to watch the way the tents, structures and the kitchens went up at the iPods. From nothing, you saw a kitchen literally coming together before your eyes.
There was the willingness to jump in and see how far we could do it together. It was the willingness to take the risk with us as we were trying to move into country as quickly as possible and being able to deliver. That ultimately meant growing from a population of 60 Marines up in our tactical assembly areas to over 56,000 in a matter of 6 weeks. This has been a good partnership. This has been a good partnership.
But the likes of this is quite a good horn. Unfortunately, our friend is there. The hole, the spring hole, to keep the horn away from the eye. You heat this overall, and you just bend it in. But that's to come into there, into there. Unfortunately, this one, you know, it's very nearly getting to the words where you could put a thistle on this, but it's just not good enough yet. But the hard horns are hard to get, very hard. Good horns are really hard. These would have been perfect on the spring hole. But to polish them, we just use ordinary tea cut. It brings it quite a good lustre on it. But the majority of people that actually buys crooks now are landed gentry before dogs.
The wild Atlantic salmon, the red fish, has been fished along the Scottish coast for hundreds of years by succeeding generations of men from the same families. Generations of fish intermeshed with generations of netsmen. Malcolm Forbes is a fourth-generation netsman. His family have fished the coast between Aberdeen and Cruden Bay for more than 100 years. At the close of the 1999 season, he looks back at his time spent fishing for the red-fleshed king of fish.
Well, the places is closed down now, but there used to be stations all the way along this bay, the Aberdeen Harbour, right along the sands to here, Forvey here, and then further north again the rocks, Cruden Bay. There used to be 3 boats out of Aberdeen Harbour, and there had been 5 men in each boat. And they worked the fly nets on the beach, that was another couple of men at that. There would have been 6 of a crew at the south down, 6 of a crew at the north down, and then there was Berry Hill, would have been 5, Black Dog, 5 or 6 here, Iggy, there's 5 here, and earlier days, like Blairton, Milden and that places was individual stations as well, were 4 and 5 were crew. Then the time I started, a lot of them was joined together with their stations. Right along to New Tile and New Brafford was just well, my father, his sale was New Tile, and Newborough was just a couple of men worked jumpers, stake nets along here. And then along to this place here, for there had been 6 of a crew at one time a day here as well.